Did you know that almost 90% of diabetes cases falls into the type 2 category? Not many people think that type 2 diabetes is constant and can get worse over time. Is it true? Absolutely not. In this video, I'll share 5 easy steps you can start today to reverse type 2 diabetes in a matter of months. Watch the entire video to learn how to tackle this without relying on pills or insulin injections, and trust me, it works. Type 2 diabetes occurs when our body becomes resistant to insulin, a hormone responsible for helping our cells absorb sugar from the bloodstream. When we consume foods, especially those high in carbohydrates, our body converts them into sugar, which enters into our bloodstream. Insulin is then produced to help our cells take in this sugar and use it for energy. However, consistently consuming high amounts of carbohydrates prompts our body to produce more insulin. Over time, our cells become less responsive to the insulin, requiring even more of it to help process the sugar. This insulin resistance means that sugar remains in the bloodstream, leading to higher blood sugar levels, which characterizes type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes has a lot to do with how your body deals with carbohydrates. It doesn't happen all of a sudden. Instead, it happens slowly over the years. This begins when muscles and other cells stop responding to insulin. This is called insulin resistance. This small act of rejection causes blood sugar and insulin levels to rise and stay high for a long time after eating. As time goes on, the organs that produce insulin work harder and harder until they finally give up. After that, insulin won't be produced anymore. While genetics can influence one's susceptibility to developing type 2 diabetes, lifestyle factors like diet, physical activity, and weight are significant contributors. Now, the secret to turning things around is right there in the name, which is carbohydrate. It's like having a cheat code for your health journey. In some instances, type 2 diabetes can be managed. You can take a few basic lab tests to understand how severe your type 2 diabetes is. As you make positive changes, you'll notice these numbers improving over time, showing that you're successfully reversing your diabetes. Now, let's break down the 5 easy steps to achieve this. First step: immediately cut out all sugars, both the ones added to foods and the ones that occur naturally. You'll have to avoid anything with added sugar. We're talking about those factory-made items that might seem like food, but aren't the real deal. These things will skyrocket your blood sugar, leading to higher insulin levels, and it will make it very difficult to reverse your type 2 diabetes if you keep eating them. Second step: it's time to say goodbye to grains. Wheat, corn, oats, and rice are the most likely culprits. Since all grains are high in carbs, and all carbs eventually become sugar, and as a type 2 diabetic, this should be avoided as much as possible. But the fact is, grains like rice, oats, wheat, and corn, as well as more exotic grains like amaranth, millet, and quinoa, turn into sugar quickly, even before they reach your stomach. The question is how? An enzyme in your mouth called amylase starts making sugar before you even swallow them. Amylases break down starch into smaller molecules, which are then broken down further by maltase into 2 glucose molecules. So by the time they get to your stomach, they are basically sugary troublemakers. Third step: you have to toss out all of those refined vegetable oils. That means saying farewell to canola oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, peanut oil, corn oil, and cottonseed oil. Now, what is the problem with these oils? They cause inflammation in the body. They pack a punch of omega-6 fatty acids compared to omega-3, and to make matters worse, they go bad in a snap when you cook them or when they're inside you. Researchers found that a high level of the omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acid, dihomolinolenic acid (DGLA) in the blood was linked to obesity, body fat buildup, a high level of alanine aminotransferase, and insulin resistance in people with type 2 diabetes. You can use cold-pressed oils like avocado, almond, hemp, flaxseed, walnut, and coconut oil instead of synthetic oil. Now, most of you are probably wondering, what should I eat then? The answer is in the next step. Fourth step: eat a lot of meat that is high in fat. Honestly, fat and protein are like the quiet partners of blood sugar. They don't make a big difference. Also, they don't send your insulin levels through the roof. so it's kind of a good deal to eat a lot of fatty meat. It has both fat and protein in it, and guess what? You'll also get lots of vitamins and minerals, since meat is full of those good things. So the magic of this is that you aren't going to send your blood sugar or insulin levels on a wild ride. Final step. Most of your carb intake should come from vegetables that grow above ground and aren't all starchy. Some people can control their type 2 diabetes by eating 100 grams or less of carbs a day. Others may need to cut even more, to a total of 50 grams per day. And then there are others like me who have to be really strict and stick to 20 grams or even less to essentially turn off the type 2 diabetes. This helps me keep it under control. The vegetables that grow above the ground that aren't all starchy include spinach, peas, kale, broccoli, asparagus, cauliflower, cabbage, lettuce, cucumbers, and mushrooms. These are just a few examples. There are many other vegetables that fit this description, so be sure to explore your options and find the ones that you enjoy the most. I get that cutting back on carbs might not sound like a great idea right now, but trust me, if you let type 2 diabetes hang around and get worse, the real problems will show up later on. Remember that these 5 steps are good for people with pre-diabetes as well as people with type 1 diabetes. For type 2 diabetes, these steps can cut down on the amount of insulin they need, saving them money and helping them get a normal hemoglobin A1C. That's a fancy term for a lab test. Also, since we're talking about lab tests, let's talk about which ones you should do before starting all these steps. It will help you keep track of your progress as you try to get rid of type 2 diabetes. First of all, you have to get a fasting glucose test, and then there's a hemoglobin A1C test, which shows how your blood sugar has been on average for the past 3 months. But that's not all. Most people will tell you to end right there, but the story goes on. Don't forget to ask for the C-peptide and insulin test when you're fasting. This will tell you if your low-carb game is killing it when it comes to completely reversing your type 2 diabetes and making the win last. By taking these 5 steps, many people can get rid of their diabetes within a month or 2. Some people, especially those who have had diabetes for a long time or have trouble cutting carbs, might need 2 to 6 months. It's becoming clearer than ever that type 2 diabetes is due to long-term intake of eating too many carbs. Besides these 5 steps, you can also work out to get these effects. Studies show that regular exercise makes people less dependent on insulin and medications and can even reverse prediabetes. It's best to aim for 150 minutes a week of moderate to vigorous exercise and add 2 or 3 sessions of strength training in there. As always, please consult your healthcare provider to determine which exercises are right for you. Exercising helps drop blood sugar levels and makes insulin production more efficient by making muscles and organs take in more glucose. The key is also to keep your muscles in shape. 70 to 80% of the glucose after a meal goes to the muscles. Strong muscles help get rid of excess glucose, which helps control blood sugar. In short, exercise helps control diabetes by lowering high blood sugar and building muscle strength, which is good for insulin health. Now, here's what I want you to do. Get your hemoglobin A1C to 5.6 or less. This is the sweet spot. We're not even talking about pre-diabetic numbers. I'm talking about a completely normal range. Pair that with a C-peptide that is also in the normal zone. That, my friend, is the magic combination for long-lasting health and a beautiful life. Do you have any questions or thoughts about these steps? Drop a comment below and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more empowering health insights. Remember, your journey to reversing type 2 diabetes starts now.